In the next 24 hours there's going to be a huge move for Bitcoin. So in this video I'm going to tell you what we can expect for Bitcoin today and how we have to react on this Bitcoin price action. There are a lot of interesting information which I will discuss with you in this video. There's also a lot of interesting data coming in for the Ethereum and the Bitcoin ETFs, and also a lot of interesting news articles are coming in which are very bullish for the markets. I'm also going to have a look at the two altcoins, Cardano and the Binance coin, but about that later in the video. So you definitely want to watch this video all the way to the end to be prepared for what's coming for Bitcoin today. Please slap up that like button because it will help this channel a lot. And let's dive right into the charts. If we zoom all the way into the 1 hour time frame, we can see that Bitcoin is running into a little bit of a resistance area. We can see last week we created this all-time high around the $104,000. We saw a little bit of a bearish retest, but then we also saw that Bitcoin was dumping below the support again. Now we can see multiple touch points here as resistance. So this resistance is the next make or break point for Bitcoin. So for instance, if Bitcoin is going to break to the top side and see a confirmation of the breakout, I'm going to wait for a retest of the previous resistance to turn it into support. And from this level, I'm going to long the market for Bitcoin and aim for higher prices. And I think if we are going to see a bullish break, then we will see a new all-time high very soon after. But of course, there's also a bearish scenario possible, and that we're going to see another rejection from this huge resistance area and that we have to aim for lower prices. So these are my two scenarios for today, and this could already happen in the coming hours. So you want to be prepared for this coming move for Bitcoin. And if we zoom out to the 4 hour time frame, we can see Bitcoin is now consolidating inside of this formation. We are seeing a huge uptrend, and we can see multiple touch points on the lower side as support, and on the top side we can see multiple touch points as resistance. And currently Bitcoin is trying to break this resistance to the top side. And if we can see a 4 hour candle close above this area, we can confirm the breakout of the resistance area. Then I'm going to wait for a retest of the resistance to turn it into support. And from this area, I'm going to long the market for Bitcoin. And then we can aim for higher targets. And then, of course, the previous all-time high is going to be the breakout target of this continuation pattern. So the trend is still up for Bitcoin. So we could expect a little bit more chances that we're going to see a break to the top side. But of course, as I'm always saying, there are multiple scenarios possible, and we can also see a little bit of a rejection from this top side resistance, and that we have to aim for the lower side again, and possibly we can see a retest of this support again. But of course, there's also another bearish scenario possible, and that we're going to see a break below this area, and that eventually this uptrend is going to be broken to the downside, that we're going to see a retest of the support to test it as resistance. And if we are going to see a bearish retest, you could also enter the market here in a short and then aim for lower targets. And then if we're going to see lower targets for Bitcoin after this breakdown, then this huge lower side support of this consolidation formation will be the breakdown target, and that will be around the $87,000. So this is the bearish move for Bitcoin, but of course we want to see the bullish move unfolding, and that we're going to just see a break to the top side, and that we're going to create a new all-time high very soon after. And yesterday we had a very good day again for the Bitcoin ETFs. We saw a total inflow of $223.1 million, and this was all because Fidelity and the ARK Bitcoin ETF were buying like crazy. BlackRock didn't buy anything after a huge couple weeks of inflows. So eventually we're now coming to the total cumulative inflow of $34.5 billion. So let's see if we can maybe hit another milestone today of the $35 billion. And that of course will be very insane. And looking at this chart of cumulative inflow, we can see this spike to the top side, and it is going more exponential than ever. So this is the most successful ETF ever in the history of ETFs. So let's see what the rest of the week and the rest of the year will bring us, and if the rest of the year can bring us to this $40 billion of total cumulative inflow, and that of course will be very bullish for the price of Bitcoin. And if we then have a look at the Ethereum ETFs, we can see another positive day for the Ethereum ETFs. Eventually they are now picking up steam, and yesterday we saw a total inflow of $102 million of total inflow. So this is insane, and this was all because BlackRock was buying. We can also see the Grayscale ETF was buying a little bit. So this was having a bullish effect on the price of Ethereum, and we're now almost at the $2 billion of total cumulative inflow for Ethereum. So this is also pushing up the price for Ethereum. And yesterday I've been talking about this huge formation for Bitcoin. Eventually we saw that Bitcoin was in this little bit of a downtrend. We saw multiple touch points here as resistance, but eventually we saw a bullish break to the top side. We created a new all-time high. Then we retested this previous resistance as support, and we did it multiple times. And as I'm always saying, if we're going to see a break of the resistance, you have to wait for a retest of the resistance to turn it into support. From this level, you could have entered the market in the long, and then you can aim for higher targets. And for instance, if you took this trade together with me on this bullish retest, you could have already made more than a 5% increase. And this is of course a very interesting trade to make, especially when you are leverage trading. So for now, we see a separation of this support area, as I was saying yesterday in my video. And now we want to break this previous all-time high of around the $104,000. So we could already see this break of the previous all-time high today. But of course, we could also see a little bit of a rejection coming into the market, and that we have to aim for lower prices. So let me know in the comments, do you think we will see a new all-time high this week for Bitcoin? And zooming out to the daily time frame, we can see that Bitcoin is still in this huge parabolic uptrend, and we can see multiple higher highs and higher lows. And every time we touch this support area on the lower side, we saw a beautiful spike to the top side. And this is exactly what we want to see in a parabolic uptrend. So we are now also retesting this previous support area on the lower side, and we can see a spike to the top side. So let's see if Bitcoin can just continue the bullish uptrend, and that we're going to see the next exponential move to the top side, and that will bring us to new all-time highs, of course. So it's looking very bullish for Bitcoin, and the trend is your friend until then, and the trend of course is now up. So I think we will just see a continuation of the trend. So eventually there could also be a bearish scenario possible, and that we're going to break below this level. But of course, there's also still a possibility that we're going to create a higher low, because we didn't eventually create a higher low. So if Bitcoin is, for instance, coming back to, let's say, around here, you can enter the market again for Bitcoin, because in an uptrend, and especially in a bull market, you want to buy every dip. But of course, if this happens, I will keep you posted in my videos and on my Telegram channel. And the link to my free Telegram group is in the link in the description under this video. So you can just click here, and then you can join my Telegram group for free. And yesterday we also have very interesting news coming into the market, and that was that the Tether Treasury is going to mint another 1 billion USDT. And when this happens, we most likely see another pump for Bitcoin and also altcoins, because when more liquidity is coming into the market, bigger pumps are coming for crypto. And the Tether Treasury minted this 1 billion USDT on Ethereum, so we will most likely see a huge pump for Ethereum in the coming days. And also we had the son of Donald Trump, Eric Trump, saying about his father, Donald Trump will be the crypto president and the US will be the global crypto capital. And also he thinks that Bitcoin will hit $1 million. So this is insane, of course. And of course we have the first pro-Bitcoin president, so this is also insane. And let's see if they can still make their words come true, because I think we will see a lot of more pumps for Bitcoin, especially when Trump is president. And zooming out to the weekly time frame, Bitcoin is still in this huge bull flag formation. We saw a beautiful run up from the bear market lows. Then we saw a consolidation of around 8 months, which I was been telling you about on my socials. After that we saw a bullish break, a retest of the resistance to turn it into support, and after that we saw this parabolic uptrend towards the new all-time high. But of course this bull flag also has a breakout target, and the breakout target is around the $110,000, and that is around this level. So there's still a little bit of room to grow for Bitcoin. And personally, if Bitcoin is going to reach the $110,000, I'm going to take a little bit of profits, because from this breakout to this beautiful breakout target, it will almost be a 70% increase. So this is an insane trade, of course, for Bitcoin. And if you followed me from this breakout, you could be entering the market just like I did. So congratulations if you took this trade together with me. But however, there's also a very dangerous chart unfolding, and that's also on the weekly time frame for Bitcoin. So as I was saying, we saw this huge bull flag formation, which was breaking out to the top side, and this was looking very bullish, of course. But we now can also see that there is a huge bearish divergence unfolding, and that means that we're seeing a higher high on the chart for Bitcoin, but we also see a lower high on the RSI chart for Bitcoin. So this indicates that the buying pressure is cooling off a little bit, and that we eventually going to see a spike to the downside, and that we can also see a more of a correction coming into the market if this bearish scenario is going to play out. So this bearish divergence on the weekly time frame is showing a little bit of danger, but of course you don't have to panic, because Bitcoin can also invalidate this structure if we're going just to see a higher high on the RSI as well, and then we are going to invalidate this bearish divergence. But for now, we are seeing this bearish divergence, so you have been warned about this, and we could potentially see a little bit of a correction happening on the weekly time frame. And yesterday we had some interesting news coming in, and a billionaire founder of interactive brokers, Thomas Peterfy, says that people should allocate 2% or 3% of their net worth into Bitcoin. And I also think these are rookie numbers, because I think a lot of people who are watching this video are more allocated than 2 or 3% of their portfolio into Bitcoin. And if all people in the world should allocate 2 or 3% of their portfolio into Bitcoin, we will see a lot of interesting price action for Bitcoin in the coming years, of course. And also on CNBC in America, they are saying, now we have a White House that is embracing digital assets. We expect something around $250,000 for Bitcoin in 2025. And this is all said by Tom Lee of Fundstrat. So I think this is just a very interesting price target for Bitcoin in 2025. And I think this is a very possible target. So let me know in the comments what your price prediction is for Bitcoin in 2025. Do you think we will go higher or lower than $250,000? The first interesting altcoin I want to have a look at is BNB, so the Binance coin. In the last months, BNB has been ranging, and as I'm always saying, if we are going to in a range, you want to accumulate more, and eventually we saw a big breakout to the top side. This big horizontal resistance level was eventually being broken to the top side. We waited for a retest of the resistance to turn it into support, and as I'm always saying, you want to enter the market on a bullish retest, and from this bullish retest you could have already made more than a 20% increase, so this was an insane trade to make, and congratulations if you took this trade together with me. We can now see a little bit of resistance coming into the market, because last week we created a new all-time high for BNB. Now we can also see this previous all-time high is a little bit over resistance. We can now see that BNB is coming to this resistance again. So there's of course a bearish scenario possible, that we're going to see a rejection and that we have to aim for lower levels. But we want to see a break to the top side, a retest again of the resistance to turn it into support, and then a continuation of the bullish uptrend. And if you're not already into the market of BNB, you can wait for confirmation of the breakout, and then on the bullish retest you can enter the market for BNB in a long. So BNB is now around to $720, and I think we will see levels around to $1,000 very soon, and this could all happen just before the end of 2024. And the next interesting altcoin I want to have a look at is Cardano. We can see a lot of interesting resistance areas were getting broken by Cardano in the last weeks, because we saw a huge pump from these bear market lows. And at these bear market lows, I've been telling you that I was stacking up more Cardano, and eventually we see this big pump to the top side. And this was all because we saw some articles of Charles Hoskinson collaborating with the US government and especially with Donald Trump. So from these bear market lows, we saw an exponential move of almost 300%. And of course, we are now running into big resistance on the daily time frame. And this is the next make or break play for Cardano. And if we zoom in a little bit, we can see that we created a huge bullish retest. So after we broke a lot of resistance areas to the top side, we came to this resistance area, saw a little bit of a rejection, and for this first big support, we are seeing a bullish retest. So from this level, you could have entered the market in a long, and then you could already made more than a 15% increase. So this was an insane trade to make as well on Cardano. And if we zoom out to the weekly time frame, there are a lot of interesting levels we need to look at. For instance, this first big weekly resistance level is around here, and we are currently running into this resistance. And as we can see in the past, we see a lot of price interactions around this level. So keep in mind that this is a very big level to break, and if Cardano is going to break this to the top side, we will see a huge exponential move after. But first we have to wait for a confirmation of the break, and then we have to wait for a bullish retest. But if we're going to break this level, I think we will see the next level around to $1.60, and maybe this next level is also a very interesting level, and that will be around the $2, and that's also a very psychological level. So let me know in the comments, do you think that Cardano is going to break to the top side, or that we're going to see a big rejection in the coming week? So my eyes are on this huge 4-hour pattern for Bitcoin, so I'm waiting for a huge breakout today, or we could see a little bit of a rejection that we have to come back to lower targets. And I hope you think this video was useful. And if you did, please slap up that like button, because it will help this channel a lot, and I will see you in the next video. Bye bye.